Good morning, students. Our next topic, next point name is absolute humidity. Hmm? Amount of the water vapor in 1 cubic meter of the air is absolute humidity of the air. That means the amount of vapor in the 1 cubic meter of the air is absolute humidity of the air. For example, the absolute humidity of air near the coastal area is higher than air in the interior. That means the humidity of the air near the coastal area is higher than the air in the interior. That means the absolute humidity is more than coastal area, more coastal area than the air in the interior. Absolute humidity is higher in the equatorial area while the reduced as move toward the pole. That means the absolute humidity is more in the equatorial area and less in the toward the pole. म्हणजे पोल कडे जात असताना ती काय होते, कमी कमी और रिड्यूस्ड होत जाते. नेक्स्ट, the distribution of land and water on the earth and the season also affected absolute humidity. That means the distribution of the land and the water of the earth and the season also affect absolute humidity. That means these factors are affected on the absolute humidities. That means the distribution of land and water also, these 2 points are the affect on the absolute humidity. Next, relative humidity. Next is the relative humidity. The amount of water vapor present in air can be expressed as percentage of the amount needed for saturations at the same temperature and same value. It is expressed in percentage. That means relative absolute means absolute humidity divided by vapor holding capacity multiplied by 100. That means amount of water vapor present in the air. That means किती amount of water present आहे air मध्ये, expressed as a percentage of the amount needed saturation at the same temperature and same value. It is expressed relative humidity. That means RH is equal to absolute humidity divided by vapor holding capacity multiplied by 100. Here given one example. What will be the relative humidity of air whose absolute humidity is 20 gram meter cube and the vapor holding capacity is 30 gram meter cube. Here given the example. Here given the example. In this example, here given absolute humidity is 20 divided by the vapor holding capacity. Vapor holding capacity 30 multiplied by 100. Here given example, that means 200 divided by 3. That means 66%. That means here the relative humidity in the air 66.66% of gram meter cube humidity in the air. That means this is the formula. That means relative humidity is equal to absolute humidity divided by vapor holding capacity multiplied by 100. You understand how to the relative humidity expressed by the absolute humidity divided by the vapor holding capacity multiplied by 100. Next example you solve in your notebook. On the basis of example given above, tell which air is saturated. In which air is saturated. the amount of water vapor change according to difference in temperature. That means the amount of water vapor changes in the changing in the different temperature in different. Similarly, relative humidity also change, and similarly as like the relative humidity also change. Generally relative humidity is more in the morning and night. That means the relative humidity is more in the night time and morning time. In the afternoon, as temperature increases, relative humidity decreases. That means in the afternoon, there are temperature increases. At that time relative humidity decreases. Near coastal areas the relative humidity is more, and so air is moist. That means the near the coastal areas the relative humidity is more, and also air is moist. In the desert area relative humidity is less. That means in the desert area relative humidity is less. That means here given the temperature high, relative humidity also low, and temperature low. In this area the relative humidity is high. Here given the one activity. The teacher should make two group of the students in class. The first group should be do activity under the supervision of teacher carefully. Here given the one activity. Take water in a pressure cooker. Take off the whistles of the pressure cooker. Now heat and cookers. Take lid with the handle. After the water start boiling, hold the lid at the distance from where the steam is coming out. Then observe what happened. You must have observed that water change into water vapor after is heated. These two activity doing in class. This vapor turn into water droplet when it is touches the cooler lid. We can see the water droplet deposited on the lid. Next point, the other group should be carry out the following activity. Take a glass with the flat bottom, put some ice cube in it, keep on the glass its room 2-3 minutes. What did you see? That means next, in some time we will droplet of water on the outer surface of the glass. See figure 3.6. That means on this completion of experiment, the sometime you will see the droplet of water on the surface of glass. When the water vapor in the air come in the contact with cold surface, that means at that time the water vapor is contact with the cold surface and condensation takes place. The droplet from on the outer surface of glass, and at that time the droplets of outer surface of the glass. In the first activity, the steam from the cooker cooled and condensed into water droplet. In the second activity, the vapor is air condensed in the water droplet. That means in first activity we are see that the cooker cooled and the cooker is cooled and the condensation into water droplet, and the second activity the vapor in the air condensed into water droplet. Here given the condensation, densification and sublimations. The process of changing water vapor into the air into in the air into the water is called as a condensation or densifications. That means the process changing water vapor into the the process of changing water vapor in the air into the water. That means the process changing the water vapor in air into the water is called as a condensation or densifications. Also the process of water gas changes into the solid state is called as a sublimation. That means the process of changing water vapor in the air into the water, that means this water vapor converted into water is also known as the condensation, and also process of vapor converted into solid state is called as a sublimations. If the temperature of the reduce, it is vapor holding capacity also reduce. That means at that time the temperature is less at that time. The vapor holding capacity also less. When the relative humidity of the air become 100%, vapor start condensation. At this time, the temperature of the air should be the dew points. That means at that time, the relative humidity is the 100%. Vapor start into the humidity on the vapor start condensing at that time the temperature of the air should be dew points. At that time, the temperature of air should be the dew point. It's implied the condensation temperature should be low, the relative humidity must be high. That means it implies that temperature should be low. At that time, the relative humidity is high. In free environment, condensation of vapor in the air occurs around the fine particle as like a dust salt in the air. Next, the dew frost and fog. Air form of the condensation at ground level, while clouds are the form of the condensation at the higher elevations. That means dew, frost and fogs are the form of the condensation at the ground level. Cloud and type of cloud. Cloud are formed in condensation of higher elevations. That means this cloud are formed by the condensation of higher elevations. Condensation occurs around minute particles of atmosphere. Condensation of water and snow particles in the clouds are very fine and almost weightless, and so cloud float in the air. That means the condensation occurs around the minutes particle in the atmosphere, and condensed water and snow particles in the clouds are very fine and almost weightless, and also cloud float in the land and water get heated because of the heat. That means land and water also heated because of the heat of sun. Air near the surface heat up, rises and become less dense. That means air near the surface heat up and rises and become less dense. Hot air rises up as goes to higher. The temperature of air reduced and the moisture holding capacity of air is reduced. That means सरफेस हा लगेच तापला जातो आणि त्याच्यानंतर काय होतं, क्रमाक्रमाने काय होतं, goes to higher, rise up and it goes to higher. The temperature of air reduced. जसं वर जाईल तसं काय होतं, टेम्परेचर कमी होतं and moisture holding capacity also reduced. Relative humidity keep increasing आणि त्यावेळेला काय होते, relative humidity increased व्हायला सुरुवात होते. The water vapor in the atmosphere turn into water and snow, and at that time the water vapor is converted into water and snow. This is the dew point level of the air, and this is also known as the dew point level of the air. The level of condensation is determined by the water vapor in the air, and this level of condensation determined by the water vapor in the air. Keep in mind that freezing point is also dependent on the outline of the water vapor. That means the freezing point also dependent on the altitude of the water vapor. Because of the condensation, the particles of ice and water float in the air and greater weight. That means at the because of the condensation, this fine particle is weighted. That means ice and water particles also greater height. The accumulated around dust particle in the air become larger in size. That means the accumulated dust particles in a larger size, their accumulation together is called as a cloud, and this is accumulation together is called as the cloud. Because of the vertical flow of the wind, they float in the atmosphere, and the vertical flow because of the vertical flows, they float on the atmosphere like a kite which float in the air. It moves higher and higher. The clouds too float in the atmosphere because of vertical flow. That means these clouds are clouds to float in the sky atmosphere because of the vertical flow. Thank you.